Down here in the bottom left, our Terran player in this group, it's Maru, the purple Terran, on the team Generic Green Wings.
And up at the upper right-hand side of Frost is the green Protoss player playing for the Afrika Freaks. That is Patience.
There he is, and this guy, formerly of the team Dead Pixels, along with other Korean pros like Fantasy that were kind of mercenary players on that team for a little while, and now coming back to join the Freaks. It's been a long, hard road for Maru this year, I feel. He's going to go CC first here in this game, so taking the exact opposite approach as the previous set. But Maru, a player who is a champion, right? He's a two-time champion of Star Leagues, and he's also a player who basically defined what Terran was, I feel, throughout 2015 and throughout this year as well, quite a bit. In Star Leagues, TY was obviously much more successful this year, making it all the way to Season 1 finals of GSL. And I think a lot of people were always wondering what happened to Maru this year. In individual leagues, he got beaten by Zest in qualifiers in Season 1, so it was just an unfortunate bracket he went through. And for Maru, his best of one performances have been off the charts, but he's not the type of player who does cheesy best of one build. So it's not like he cheesed his way into, you know, like what, 11 wins I think he had in Pro League. And he only had one loss, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, he played straight-up games, he played macro games, and he was at the top of the charts. And now he's here, you know, in this tournament to prove that he can win best of threes and win a Korean league as well.
Patience is here to prove that you can cancel literally any barracks building with just a probe. However, somewhat less successful this time around means that this game will progress a little bit more standardly, which may not be quite as exciting as that crazy opener to Game 1, but at least now we can all know what we're talking about because we've seen very similar openings. However, it's a lot of barracks early on, so maybe setting up for one of those like early stim pushes, even though it's not quite the same timing you'd expect from you know, builds that are just looking to, you know, crush you down early with that.
Well, we have seen some builds like this with the 3-rack swap with stimless marine attacks that just run in and try to find pressure, target down probes, but because we're at cross spawns on Frost, very unlikely that we'll actually see that occur.
I mean, you can, but that's where Defender's advantage really kicks in because your units are super old by that point. It's like, you know, you have dog years and it just progresses so much faster than human years. By the time those Marines get there, man, those guys are so old and they just don't fight as well as those freshly warped in Protoss units.
That's right. I mean, obviously, by the time they get across the map, they will be less valuable. Had the Maru spawned
How do you think that makes the Marines feel when you call them less valuable, Wolf? Hashtag like Marine Lives Matter, man.
I feel like they definitely feel, you know, if they heard me, they'd be a bit upset. But the truth of the matter is, early game Marines are great, but versus several Adepts, they're not as good. Especially the Photon Overcharge will slow them down. They are walking all the way around here, and he's hoping that with this Adept pressuring at the front, that this will catch Patience off guard. Now, I believe the probe saw all 3 barracks, so this is not going to come as a shock to him. That's why he's keeping his mothership core here and is not actually pressuring, you know, at all with it. It's obviously a long distance to pressure with as well. Warp Gate Research is going to finish just before this, so he will have a warp-in of units to use as well, with likely 3 gates. By the time those Marines get there, initially just 1, but the other 2 are about to finish. And this Observer may see this. Looks like just barely not.
My God, those are 007 Marines there. They're on a secret mission. They're like the Jaws Marines, but they don't even have fins. They're walking towards this pylon, but it is going to at least kill a couple of them. There come the probes off the line. We'll face a few casualties here, but all these Marines should be able to get it cleaned up.
Yeah, he needs to get at least 1 more probe, I'd say. Will he get it? No. Gets only 3. For a small investment of Marines, I think that was very well handled by Patience. He immediately reacted.
Small loan of 6 Marines, 7 Marines. How many was that? It was a 7, right?
I think it was 7, yeah.
Okay,
I think you're on the money with that one. Well, obviously, with 3 barracks, he's going to have a new set of Marines very soon. He's not going to have so many anytime soon. And versus this stimless 3 racks with no tech, I mean, Patience is confirming right now, of course, that the tech up is there. He's getting stim. But he knows for a while Stim isn't going to be ready. He also knows that there's no drops coming his way because he knows there's no factory tech with his 3 racks follow-up. So he takes a third base that's pretty greedy, and he's really responding well to the build that Maru has shown him here.
I mean, yeah, Patience has as many Nexi as Maru has barracks. So I feel like that's a pretty strong place for him to be, especially since, like you said, there's not going to be anything ferrying his way anytime soon. It's a very big map, so Frost, you see this a lot, just very long sort of macro openings. You got to think about the long term.
With Blink being finished now, he will have an easier time defending this third base. He could even use Stalkers to poke to slow down any pressure Maru put out. Because Maru did quickly tech up to stem like almost immediately afterwards and has 2 tech labs to produce Marauders and also get combat shields early. He does have a strong follow-up push he can use here, the problem being that he doesn't have medevacs. And he will have those rallied across the map soon should he commit to this pressure heavily, and I imagine he will. Going to catch these Stalkers off guard here, so they can try to pick up a unit and Blink. Doing a little bit of damage, and again, without medevacs, that's valuable. A little bit of harassment that we see there.
All right, well, only just now starting to push out. Maru with this tiny force, joining up with these medevacs for what should be the first amount of pressure Patience has really had to deal with this game, other than that very easily cleaned up Marine squad early on. You can just look at the army counts, or as Todd would say, look at the supply, and you can see how well Patience is going to be able to defend it.
You just slid that one right in there. You just upped our baguette count in this game a little bit.
I don't know. It's still not as dope as your Twitter banter from yesterday. That was actually so sick.
That wasn't even the funny part about that. This wasn't even my money. That was your money that I put up on the screen.
Shh, it's a secret. All right.
Let's look at this drop. I mean, this is not going to be very successful. Right?
No, it's actually going to be super unsuccessful there. Stim used only for its ability to make your Marines run away faster.
One more shot would have killed it. +1 would have also killed it. Both of those things were not quite there, but he's going to continue the chase. And in fact, we'll have another Blink in a second.
Yeah,
Maru actually has boost. If he had picked up, he might have been able to get away.
Oh my god, there we go. Does get one. Those Stalkers pretty fast with their little pony trot legs. Running across Frost and chasing Maru all the way back to his base, but there's way more units ready to go here as Maru sets up his third command center.
That Adept is actually going to buy a lot of time for that drop. The drop completely unloaded here. It looks like he's not even going to do it anymore. Wants to potentially intercept another attack that's going to come across the map. You know what? He's going to get caught here. This is too many units.
Yeah, this is actually really bad. He's going to kill the medevac almost immediately. Whoa! It's pacifism time! But no, there we go. Going in and killing off just about everything. Thankfully, Stim super great at running away, and that will at least show Maru that Patience's forces may be a little bit out of position. So trying to cut them off with a bigger Terran force as this third gets denied by a couple of Adepts on the high ground.
And over here, he's going to try to counterattack, but he gets spotted again, this time by the Watchtower. Maru's getting shut down at every turn in this series, starting with the proxy barracks.
A big warp in the main. Maru's main force, of course, out on the map. Will he be able to clean that up? He does have at least some forces back at home, and this is still going to deal a decent amount of damage for Maru, and of course able to defend simultaneously that push out on the map. Patience is just looking so good.
Maru's in some serious trouble here. Luckily, he saved his army that was in the middle of the map. That was nearly killed. Is reacting perfectly here, sending just a small contingency of units over to deal with this drop. Will stave it off, so perfect responses there, but even though he responded perfectly, he took a lot of damage. The attack continues here.
Well, this third is really going to be the center of all this pressure. Even with a Widow Mine hit like that, it's just going to be a little bit too much. Half of, I almost said Marine Lord because he's purple, but half of Maru's forces out on the map. That's going to make this push so difficult to defend.
Oh, he's got a bunker here, but I mean, it's not even loaded, and he's trying to get a unit's concave set up here. This counterattack is really all he's got going for him, and this could end up being a funny sort of base trade in this game because simply most of Patience's units are on the other side of the map. Now, let's not forget, Terran buildings fly, so even though, this army you can really struggle to defend this, he can lift. But you know what? With this high ground, he's doing a pretty solid job at buying time here. He's killed this initial Nexus, and then all the gates are one pylon. Oh my god.
All right, well, we all know what that one's called, but we'll see if it's enough to defend. A big warping back at home means that Patience might just have sealed the deal here for this game. Maru gonna have to come up with a miracle to... That didn't work, but he's gonna have to come up with something to try to keep himself in this game.
Sure.
I'm gonna have to come up with something to keep myself on this caster desk.
I'm like, you are fired.
Wolf's actually just trying to throw me off right now.
I'm like,
I can cast better without any Brendan.
Brendan can just eat a lozenge and come back, right? Yeah, not attacking that Artosis pylon in the main base definitely, shout out to Artosis, I know he's watching, definitely would have given him the opportunity to do more damage, but obviously he didn't have the vision of that. He didn't have the knowledge that the pylon placement was like that. So it's just kind of an unfortunate circumstance for Maru, who survives, but frankly, I do not think can stabilize in this game, despite, you know, killing that natural nexus. It's already replaced, and he just has such a pitiful economy at 28 SCVs. And his army is also, you know, it's the same size as Patience, but he's going to be behind in upgrades, and he does not have the tech to deal with these Colossi yet either. Nor the Disruptor, actually, that sneaked into here.
Oh, no! Oh, the carnage, the humanity that no longer exists. Disruptors, good units.
Quick pickup there by Maru, but still, I mean, if he had not done that so quick, it would have lost a huge amount. And Patience, I think, a little bit lazy with his Stalker Micro. Right. Probably could have gone on the chase.
Now, even though this is actually a huge Doom-esque drop running around the map for Maru, it will be spotted eventually there by that the Overseer. And now, oh no, it's not an Overseer at all. And those are not going to go down. It's an Observer, Wolf.
Yes.
Overseers are Zerg units.
Yeah, they're not invisible.
I do actually.
They have a lot of eyes. Okay, they are seeing a lot. In fact, they're overseeing what they're doing. But
like
this
overcharging.
This is really losing those 2 drops. I mean, it's very monumental in this game, because now Maru will not have a large enough army to either combat Patience or to do drop harass while Patience is attacking.
The tech difference is so massive. Even though Patience pulling back for now, I think that's only momentary until he can regroup with the rest of his forces.
There are only 3 Liberators. They have to be positioned better than perfect, basically, to make this fight work.
Oh, and
they
here
siege
it goes.
up, but I mean, the Colossi here, even while being targeted down, tank so much.
GG. Patience.
Really just responding to the 3 barracks pressure at cross spawns, gets a greedy third base, gets away with it, and then, you know, gets some lucky fights in the middle of the map.
And he's even drinking my favorite aloe drink in the studio.
You are an aloe fanatic.
I am an aloe fanatic, man. I buy those big bottles, man. There's never enough. Got to have the fiber in your diet so you can be a good StarCraft player.
You and Sheth, man, the 2 guys who carried around big bottles of water in Korea, big bottles of aloe, man.
I feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a name I've not heard in a long time, Wolf.
It's been a while since we've seen that Manor Zerg here in Korea, about 5 years now, I think. But
now we get to see a different, not-so-Manor Zerg in Korea in Nerdchio. Of course, we'll be watching his series immediately following that. But first, we have to crown a winner on Galactic Process.
Galactic Process here, our map number 3, and we'll see how this one pans out. It's obviously a very large map, and Maru definitely probably not going to be doing the same sort of build he did on Frost on this map with how well Patience responded, took that third base here, but only time will tell.
Here we go, game number 3 is coming up. Galactic Process, Patience versus Maru. Let's get into game.